Two vegans and a black guy, don't ask why.
That's our slogan right there. Two vegans and a black guy, don't ask why.
So we're going to be starting off with some homemade pasta today to make this dish. Now, of course, if you're busy, it's a weekday, maybe you just want to get this dish going nice, quick, and easy. You can always use pre-made pasta, but for those of you who are interested in learning how to make your own pasta, we're going to show you how we make our pasta. So let's check it out. All right, so we're starting with a half a cup of just regular all-purpose flour here. We're going to add to that a cup of semolina flour as well. Now, the semolina has a grainier texture. It's going to give us some nice texture on the pasta. And then, of course, also a half cup of water. Now we're just gonna mix this up until we get a sort of a dough going. And then the most important thing when it comes to making your pasta is you're gonna wanna knead it really intensely. You wanna get really in there, you wanna get really aggressive with it, and you're gonna knead this dough for about 10 minutes. And you're just gonna work it back and forth.
Get those frustrations out.
Now once you've got your dough worked up a little bit, go ahead and drizzle a little bit of olive oil in there. You're just gonna give the pasta a little bit of extra flavor. And then you'll continue to knead that back into the dough. Like I said, we need to make sure we knead this for about 10 minutes at least. We want to be rough and firm with it. That would be what makes this something.
Shit.
Also, the olive oil is going to help moisten the dough a little bit more, making it more kneadable and able to basically process the flour a little bit better.
Right. After you've worked your dough together a decent way inside of your mixing bowl, you can go ahead and convert it to a flat top. It's going to let you be a little more rough with it. It's going to help you work out the dough easier. Alright, so after getting a good work on your dough here, making sure you've got it good and floured as well, you're going to take this ball. You're just gonna go ahead and wrap it up with some plastic wrap. You need to let this dough sit for about 30 minutes. So while the dough is sitting, we're gonna go ahead and chop up some of the produce we'll be using with the pasta.
Oh, so we're just gonna be here like straight just drinking, like while watching you cut. But this is gonna be
I'll drink to that, my guy. Ah, please, tell me more about this asparagus we're adding.
Today we're going to be adding asparagus, peppers, and a nice tomato medley to our pasta. Of course, this is one of those fun dishes where you can kind of mix it up and add whatever vegetable preferences you have for yourself. Whatever vegetable preferences you have, say for example you want to try mushrooms, zucchini, anything like that, you're more than welcome to add it in.
Or Brussels sprouts.
Or Brussels sprouts, also a good choice.
Or coconut.
Coconut's not a vegetable?
Fuck. My favorite thing about this dish is actually the peppers, dude, because, again, I really like an oven roasted tomato. I love the way it looks. I love the way it tastes. It's fantastic. Asparagus, I'm new to asparagus, but the way it pops off in the oven and it gets really nice and crispy, it's fantastic. But you can never really top the flavor profile that comes out from an oven roasted pepper. It's just absolutely beautiful, and it adds so much flavor as well as color to a dish. It's fucking crazy. I love it. So, what are we doing?
Alright, so we're gonna make a white wine with pepper sauce. So basically what you do is you marinate a bunch of bell peppers, red, orange, yellow, whatever you want, in some vegan butter, and then add white wine and let it basically reduce over a long period of time. That's why we're starting the sauce right now. That way, while everything else is cooking, it's just reducing and getting that flavor from the peppers over the whole course of time. We're using the Austin Wineries wine. It is actually a vegan wine.
It's vegan.
Yes, it's vegan. It's vegan.
It's vegan. It's vegan.
Some wines are vegan, some aren't, obviously. There's ways of finding out, but Austin Winer, if you're in Austin, they're the shit. So what we're gonna do is use basically just a whole bottle of wine minus, you know, like 1 glass, because we want to drink the wine too. So to start off our sauce, we're gonna add about 6 tablespoons of vegan butter. Let it melt all the way. Then we're gonna add our bell peppers to it. Bring the butter to a low simmer, just to get like a crunchy sensation and all the sugars released from the peppers. Then lower your heat a little bit and let them soak up all that butter for a bit. And then add in your white wine. Once you've added your white wine, bring it to a low boil, and once it boils, instantly turn back down the temperature and just marinate your white wine for the rest of the duration of what you're cooking.
Our pasta dough here, we've unwrapped it, and we're gonna go and cut this into small chunks that we can run it through the pasta press. And we're gonna show you the process of rolling your own pasta here in just a moment. We're taking small cuts of pasta and start running them through our pasta press. And we're gonna wanna run them through the highest setting of our pasta roller multiple times to start off with. And each time we do that, we're just gonna fold them. And this is just helping us form a shape here. And also compressing any air that's inside. And as we do this, we're gonna continue to add a little bit of flour to both the pasta and the surface that we're rolling out onto as well. And once it's doing that, you're gonna wanna go ahead and start adjusting your pasta roller by one setting at a time and continue to roll this pasta through, flouring as needed if it feels like it's a little too moist. And continue to just press it through one time on each setting until you reach your desired thickness. Now, a pretty good metric for telling when your pasta is ready or not is to see if you can actually see your hand through the pasta. So we're almost there. We're gonna drop it one more setting. This should be our final press with this pasta. And don't worry about any imperfections inside of your sheets either. We're gonna go ahead and trim those before we run them through the actual cutter. After you've cut the pasta, go ahead and flour them very generously. Another thing we haven't mentioned with our pasta is that if you make handmade pasta like this, you can actually store it inside of your refrigerator for about 3 days. You can also freeze it. So say that you go ahead and make large batches of pasta.
Like this one.
Like this one. You can go ahead and store those. You'll be able to reuse them multiple times whenever you're ready for some more pasta. So the sauce is coming up to a good thickness. We're gonna go ahead and get these vegetables in the oven, get those roasting. We're just gonna toss all of these inside of a singular bowl. Afterwards, we wanna add just about 2 tablespoons of oil just to help hold the salt, pepper, and the oregano and basil that we're adding as well. Of course, we're using dried basil, dried oregano here. You are more than welcome to use fresh basil or oregano if you have those available to you. Now that everything's in the bowl, we're gonna go ahead and give those a nice toss. With the oil, with the seasoning, get it all mixed up really well. Afterwards, we're gonna lay that out on a baking sheet we've got lined with parchment paper. We're gonna throw those in the oven at about 400 degrees, and they should roast up for about 15 minutes or so. After that, they'll come out nice and crisp with some good flavor to add to the pasta. Alright, so to make our soy, we're going to take about a tablespoon or so of arrowroot powder here. Dump that in, and then we just want to add the smallest amount of water, so it's going to be about a tablespoon as well. And we're going to mix these together. Now the reason we're doing this instead of just dumping the arrowroot powder into the sauce that we have working is that occasionally adding something like arrowroot or cornstarch, which is another alternative you can use, sometimes when you add those directly to a liquid, it's going to form clumps, and we don't want any of those. We just want a nice slurry, which we're going to go ahead and add to our sauce. Now the arrowroot powder or the cornstarch, whichever you decide to use, is going to give us a little more thickness to the sauce. We want to keep it light still, but we do want some body to our sauce. And it's going to allow us to get some thickness behind this wine sauce that we otherwise couldn't do just by trying to reduce it down completely.
And now what you do is just basically place the pasta in the boiling water for anywhere from 60 to 90 seconds. We're going to do about 60 seconds, that way it's a little bit more al dente.
And when it comes to our presentation, we're just going to lay our noodles out here. Afterwards, we're going to go ahead and add our roasted veggies on top of those as well.
Gorgeous.
It's so beautiful.
Absolutely gorgeous. Look at that shit.
Once we've got our pasta laid out, we're just going to ladle a little bit of that sauce over top. And once again, this is just a wine sauce, so it's going to be a lot thinner than other sauces you may be used to. Give a nice drizzle over top of everything. And then personally, we like to finish it off with a little bit of cracked black pepper on top. This is a coarse grind. It's gonna add a little more bite to the pasta as you enjoy what is.
And some green onions.
And some green onions.
Oh, it's so beautiful.
Absolutely wonderful. Sorry.
Alright, we ready?
Yeah, we're twirling the pasta. We're twirling the pasta. Let me get some of the veggies. Look at that shit dripping. Hell yeah.
That's always just drip sauce all over the place. Alright, now we're gonna try our pasta, guys. And gals. Alright. Get all those veggies in there.
We really taste the wine.
Alright, so the roasted pepper white wine sauce.
The sausage drips everywhere.
You can just really taste the wine, like fuck. But it's good. Oh shit, I need to twirl my pasta more, boys.
It's
Fun.
so bad.
It's dripping.
This plate, yeah, we're gonna change plates. Alright, everyone, that was our first episode. Enjoy. Let us know what you guys think.
TVBG, hashtag. Would it be good if someone pickled a vegan sausage and then cooked it? Or does that sound bad? Because that sounds really good to me for some reason.
Have you pickled a real sausage and cooked it?
Did you want to fuck with the carrots?
Nah.
I didn't think so.
I mean, I'm not pregnant, but that sounds really good right now.
Okay,
Just because it's vegan doesn't make it instantly better.
That's a lie, it does.
Yes, it does.